Hi everyone, good afternoon. My name is Eileen and I'm from the Institute of Banking and Finance. And today we're very happy that you can join us here for this IBF Masterclass that's co-organized with Skills Future Singapore in as part of the Skills Future Carnival 2024 or Festival. I'm sorry. Yeah, and in this unboxing session, here's what you can expect. Number one, key findings of the Sustainable Finance Jobs Transformation Map, also abbreviated commonly as SFJTM. Number two, available IBF resources that can complement the JTM study and help individuals advance their careers. And number three, insights from two industry experts. To share more about the SFJTM, we have Siu Lee, Director and Group Head of Skills Development at IBF, who will guide us through.
Thank you, Eileen, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here today to share more about the Sustainable Finance Job Transformation Map and available resources.
Okay, in April, do we have that? Yes. In April 2024, the Sustainable Finance Jobs Transformation Map, or SFJTM, was launched by Mr. Alvin Tan, Minister of State for Trade and Industry and MAS board member. Now, this initiative is a game changer for us in the sustainable finance space, and we'll find out why in this session. Mr. Tan also announced that MAS has allocated $35 million to upskill Singapore's financial services workforce in sustainable finance. So why is sustainable finance and is this jobs transformation map so crucial in the financial sector?
Yeah. So for Singapore to be a leading center for green and sustainable finance in Asia, it is important for stakeholders across the different across the financial sector to raise the sustainable finance capability of the workforce. This is also set out in the MAS Finance for Net Zero Action Plan. The financial sector can seize the window of opportunity for Singapore to be the APEC Sustainable Finance Hub. And to achieve this, the financial sector workforce in Singapore will have to actually undergo timely upskilling to deepen their sustainable finance capability.
So, Siu Lee, how have MAS and IBF been supporting the financial sector in deepening the workforce skill sets in sustainable finance?
Thanks, Eileen. So in 2022, actually MAS and IBF, in consultation with the industry, had already came together to develop 12 sustainable finance technical skills and competency that are needed by individuals in the sector to perform various roles in sustainable finance. The sustainable finance technical skills and competency cover a range of thematic topics such as climate change management, taxonomy application, and functional knowledge, which focus on how sustainability is applied across major functions in the sector. So this includes skills such as sustainability risk management, sustainability reporting, sustainable investment management, as well as sustainable insurance and reinsurance solution. And to further support the industry in deepening the sustainable finance capability, the MAS and IBF jointly conducted the Sustainable Finance Job Transformation Map study to identify the impact of sustainability trends on financial sector jobs and skills. The report was released in April this year.
So can you share with us, Siu Lee, more about this, what this whole SFJTM is and what the objective of the study is?
The SFJTM provides us with actionable insight on the key global and regional sustainability trends impacting Singapore financial services sector. It assesses the changes to existing job tasks and outline the new skills needed for the augmented job role, allowing us to make informed and the necessary intervention.
Okay, and since we are talking about skills and jobs, could you share with us who are the users that can benefit from the JTM's findings?
So the JTM is relevant to multiple stakeholders in the financial services ecosystem, including financial institutions, training providers, industry association, as well as financial sector professionals. The findings can help the various stakeholders to make informed business, operational, hiring, training, and career decisions. So let me share some scenarios where it can be used. So for example, for human resource as well as learning and development specialists, they can actually use it for workforce planning and to actually address the learning and skills development needs of their employees. For CEOs and Chief Sustainability Officer, they can use the JTM for strategic planning and organization design. And for training provider, they can use it for curriculum development to design training courses to help professionals address any skills gap.
Oh, wow. And how about if I am an individual actually working in the financial sector right now, or and if I'm looking to develop my career, would there be anything to help me?
Definitely. So individual can also tap on this to plan their upskilling journey. Through the JTM, they can understand the key trends affecting their job function, identify what are the key sustainable finance skills required, and look out for the available training courses to upskill. We will share more in the next segment on some of IBF resources that are available and can be used to complement the sustainable finance job transformation map.
Thank you. And now we're moving on to the unboxing. Let's talk about how the SFJTM was created. So the JTM was developed through an extensive study involving industry consultations, data analysis, and expert insights to map out how jobs will be augmented. So let's talk about the three findings of the SFJTM. What do they aim to do?
Yeah. The sustainable finance related activity in the financial sector are being shaped by three key drivers. Firstly, the real economy demand for sustainable financing. Second, sustainability regulation and standard. And thirdly, technological innovation. So the report is about 200 pages long with wealth of information within it. But I wanted to share three key insights from the study.
So when we look at the insights, right? If you look at the screen now, we have the first what looks like a chocolate bar with the word 50,000 in it. Let me guess. Does this mean that there could be 50,000 new job roles in the financial sector?
Um, Not really. The number is related to jobs, but not new job roles. So based on the study, more than 50,000 job roles in financial sector will be moderately or highly augmented in the next 3 years. So we want to especially highlight that job augmentation does not mean that their job roles and responsibility will be changed completely, but instead, their roles will actually take on new sustainable finance related job tasks as part of their critical work function to a moderate to high degree.
So in this case, do you have any examples to share with us how these roles can or will be changed in the future?
Yeah. So using corporate banking relationship manager as an illustration, the RM will now need to also understand sector-specific market trend in sustainability to identify prospects interested in sustainable finance product, be able to advise client on sustainable finance products that align to the financial institution and their client transition plan, and also understand the sustainability risk as part of their management of client. So with the above job task augmentation, the sustainable finance technical skills needed for the RM will include areas such as sustainable lending instrument structuring, climate change management, non-financial industry sustainability development, and natural capital management.
Thank you. That's it for the first finding. And now we can move on to the second finding. And if you remember, this is our second chocolate bar-like thing, 20. Okay, the next finding says that there are 20 unique job roles that will need to be prioritized for upskilling. So, Julie, can you share with us what are some of these roles and what are the new skills that need to be added to these roles?
Yeah. So the high priority job role will include roles such as product development, product sales, relationship management, risk management, as well as underwriting. There are currently 12 sustainable finance technical skills and competency in the skills framework for financial services. And these are the core skills needed to perform new sustainable finance related job tasks and are now mapped to individual job roles. So based on the sustainable finance JTM, the top 4 sustainable finance skills required will include sustainable risk management, climate change management, taxonomy application, and impact indicator measurement and reporting. So what does this mean to individual right after acquiring this suite of skills? It will actually allow individual to ensure that environmental and sustainability risks are incorporated in relevant risk management framework, strategies, and policy. It will also enable the integration of climate risk into wider risk management strategy, identify opportunity to develop products that support climate change mitigation adaptation, facilitate consistent understanding and application of standardized classification of green and transition activity, as well as enabling effective and accurate measurement of sustainability outcome from investment or financial products. So individuals can upskill themselves and have the necessary knowledge and skills to capture sustainable investment opportunity, develop new financial products and services, and at the same time effectively manage risk because of sustainability.
I see. And then lastly, we're moving on to the third key finding that says that roles will emerge in areas such as sustainability risk and sustainability strategy. What do these roles entail for those of us who are new to this?
Yeah. So the new roles are in area where more specialized skills are needed, such as sustainability risk management, or in certain organization structure where they have actually adopted a more dedicated centralized role for sustainability strategy planning. So professional in sustainability risk will need to have deep technical knowledge on how to understand sustainability risk and long-term financial performance. They will then need to actually integrate this risk into financial institution, enterprise risk management. Whereas for sustainability strategy role, this is a specialized central role to shape sustainability strategies, drive financial result, and develop capability for enterprise level sustainability strategies and risk management requirements.
Oh, thank you, Suli, for all that information. I think it's very useful for those people in the audience that we have today who are really interested in what's happening next in the sustainable finance space. Now, we will now move on to the next segment where we will answer these very important questions to our audience. And that is, what are the IBF resources that complement the key findings from the JTM study? Today, we will share more about these 3 resources, and they are number 1, funding, number 2, training courses, and number 3, the IBF skills badge. So first, let's talk about funding. Yeah, funding is always everyone's favorite topic. Suli, could you share more about how IBF really supports professionals with funding?
Yeah. So we have 2 funding schemes available, which many of you all may be aware of. Firstly, the IBF Standard Training Scheme, or commonly known as the IBF STS, and the Financial Training Scheme, FTS. The IBF Standard Training Scheme provides funding for IBF accredited training assessment courses that are against the skills framework for financial services. And under the IBS Standard Training Scheme, both company as well as self-sponsored individuals can receive up to 70% funding to learn a new skill. So the skills framework, it provides key information on sector, career pathway, job roles, as well as existing and emerging skills required for the financial services professionals. And professionals can leverage on the skills framework to plan for their career progression and to identify the skills needed for their current or new job role. The other funding schemes that we have is the financial training scheme. So one key difference between the financial training scheme and the IBS standard training scheme is that financial training scheme is only available for company-sponsored individuals. The financial training scheme cover training courses that enhances skills related to financial services sector. And such courses are not accredited under the skills framework for financial services.
I see. Oh, and the next I hope our audience here is clear about the difference between the two courses. And later on, we will be sharing a QR code if you're interested to know more. And for the next IBF resource that we are going to share about is about training courses. So this is the second most popular topic after funding. So Siu Lee, could you tell us more about the available sustainable finance courses and any other new courses that are being introduced?
Yeah. So for all IBF accredited training programs, we have the IBF Program Finder on the IBF website. Currently, now there are over 120 IBF approved sustainable finance courses. So course fee for this program are subsidized under the IBF Standard Training Scheme or the financial training scheme that I mentioned earlier. And additionally, we are also working with a quality training provider to bring in new courses that are more applicational and of advanced proficiency. So I also want to kind of share that beside course fee subsidy, which both financial institution and individual can tap on, financial institution can also leverage the job redesign reskilling career conversion program, in short known as JRRCCP. The JRCCP supports individual or eligible employee reskilled into growth job role identified in the JTM and provide the financial institution with salary support for up to 3 months.
Thank you, Siu Lee. And now the next thing we wanted to share is about the IBF skill badges, including what they are. So can you share with us what the skill badges are and how professionals can earn them and benefit from them?
Yeah, the IBS Skills Badge is a new initiative that was launched recently. The Skills Badge serves as a common industry benchmark to recognize skills mastery and support financial institutions in their skills-based hiring. So we award skills badges to individuals who have completed an IBM accredited sustainable finance training courses. The skills badge will also encourage faster acquisition of training in emerging or in-demand sustainable finance skills to augment their job role. There are 3 badges which you are seeing on the screen now, highlighting different proficiency level of expertise. So let me touch on the 3 badges. The proficient badge is awarded to professionals who are at skills proficiency level 3. The intermediate badge is awarded to professionals at skills proficiency level 4. And lastly, the advanced badge is awarded to professional at skills proficiency level 5. So once earned, these badges can be displayed on your social media such as LinkedIn, showcasing your qualification and expertise to your network. And over here, I wanted to also encourage all of you to start the learning journey and look forward to your attainment of the skills badges.
Thank you, Siu Lee. And for do we have a next slide? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing all that information with us, Siu Lee. I think our audience really will appreciate all this information. And if you're among our audience today, and if you wish to find out more about the funding, the training courses, and or the skills badges, please click on the QR code for more information.
Thanks, Eileen.
And now for our next segment, we are very happy to have with us 2 industry experts join us as our guest speakers. We have Nita Nai from Prudential and Jacqueline Daw from Standard Chartered Bank. And today, because our 2 speakers are very passionate about the field of sustainable finance, we'd like this session to be highly interactive. We've decided to ask our audience what you would like to know from our speakers. So for our audience, do we have... Okay. Okay, we're waiting for the audience. Yes, thank you. So here's your chance to let us hear you, our audience. Question number one, what you're currently doing now. Let us know whether you are a student, whether you're an undergraduate, or whether you are currently working in the financial sector in the sustainable finance space, or you are not in the sector nor in the space and you're interested to get in. And number two, what you would like to learn from our speakers today. Now, this is very important because this will directly impact what our speakers are here to share with us. Nita and Jacqueline, while waiting for the results of the poll, we already have got questions that are streaming in. So what I'm going to do is to now start off with getting Nita to introduce herself, followed by Jacqueline. So Nita, please.
Sure. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, thank you for inviting me to the panel. Totally privileged to be here. I am the Chief Human Resource Officer for Prudential Singapore, and I am absolutely passionate about social sustainability specifically as a topic. And of course, in my role and through my team as an HR professional, I have the opportunity to enable and empower people to with the right skills to be sustainable today and in the future and to contribute to sustainability of the organization. So hope that helps with the introduction. Elaine, happy to add anything more if you like.
It does. Yeah. So let's move on to Jacqueline. We do have a lot of questions for you both to answer.
Thank you, Eileen. And I'm not entirely sure how I can follow Nita's. That was very inspiring in way of an introduction. My name is Jacqueline Dove. I am the global head of our Sustainable Finance Strategic Initiatives. That's quite a mouthful, but it's quite a broad mandate that I have at the bank. It's really about embedding sustainable finance through the organization. That will be through our clients and our transaction lifecycle and making sure that sustainability is really part of all the decisions that we make in the organization.
Okay, thank you, Jacqueline. So to give the audience more context, I would like to invite Nita to share more about Prudential's approach to sustainable finance.
Right. So for us, I mean, sustainable finance overall refers to everything as sustainability. And I know a lot of people get digressed because it has the word finance in there, but it used to be what is called ESG, environmental, social, and governance, everything as a focus. So we focus on all of those. I must say that firstly, we're privileged to be in the insurance industry, and the nature of the business and the purpose of the business directly translates to the social sustainability or sustainability of lives, as you see the purpose behind it, every life, every future, for health and protection, and making financial and health offerings accessible and affordable. In that sense, ensuring people have the right skills and capabilities to deliver on that purpose and goal is the critical aspect through training for us. And we look at it in a few ways. And maybe if I was to look at it as firstly internal, the first aspect is upskilling, just ensuring people are educated and aware about this topic. And it is so topical. It's such a new space to understand and even be curious and learn how it can augment their own current role, as well as what else is happening that they can contribute to beyond just their role. So upskilling is something we've been doing over the last few years, previously called ESG, a lot of focus on the environment, and that aspect. But we also, as some of you may know, Cha-Ching, been contributing to social sustainability through that of the community, and then for the children and financial education through that. So in terms of enabling our staff with skills on this particular topic of sustainability and what it means at a very mass upskilling level. The other one is to augment, and I think just before the segment, there was this aspect of if you are a technical expert, and this is new for us as we explore and utilize the JTM and IBF's various resources to look into how our technical roles need to be augmented, and whether that is in HR focusing on social sustainability practices, or whether it's our products underwriting, and governance and reporting roles. How do we then build those skills to top up the current technical skills? That's one aspect of upskilling I can talk to. The other is reskilling. I saw on the chat somebody had a question around, I have no background but in this area, how can I move to this career? And I think that's going to be the state for most people in sustainability, because there are no major experts and who can suddenly come in and start doing this. So employers will have to be open to that, and a lot of it is internal reskilling. We've been beneficiaries of, again, IBF's career conversion program. And just to take two examples, one, someone who was in civil service and as a research analyst then joined us, and we put her through a CCP, new hire CCP, and now she's a sustainability manager. So focusing on sustainability reporting and climate and so on. And it's not just for all young people suddenly making career switches, but people who are more experienced, 20 plus years of career. Another example is our current head of sustainability, who had been a corporate affairs and communications and branding person for over 20 years, decided finally she wanted to take a sabbatical and then transition to sustainability, because that's where she felt her passion lies. So reskilling is the other one. And that's the last one, which I would touch upon on training, is external focus, because for us, sustainability is not just about sustainability of our workforce, but also sustainability of Singapore workforce and building a larger pipeline for the society at large. So we, over the last 1 year, have launched something called TEUP, Talent Engagement Ecosystem, where we've tied up with 10 institutes of higher learning, and where students have come together and we provide them the opportunity and platform. It's open for all. You could go Google, and they can be tagged to mentors. They could leverage on our training programs, find out what roles are in what industry, and learn from there and contribute. So it's an open platform, and then providing them the opportunity to do internships and what skills are required for the future. So that's from an external perspective, training our future talent pipeline. And not all may join us, but maybe will join someone else, and it would benefit the sustainability of the workforce in that sense. So that's the various levels at which we do training. Last one I forgot to mention was through our enterprise business with the small medium enterprise, working on Skills Accelerator and Queen Bee. We also provide support to the SMEs on these topics and training around sustainability. So I think that's kind of holistically all of the training aspect.
Thank you, Nita. That was really educational. I mean, and a lot of information for us. And I'm hoping that the audience will be inspired by the two stories of people that you shared who successfully pivoted into a sustainability role. And next up, we're going to ask Jacqueline to share about what SCB is doing in the whole sustainability space, and particularly how SCB is or has used the JTM for mapping.
Well, gosh, again, I don't know how to follow Nita. Nita, I don't even know how you get any time to sleep, because that is a lot being done at Prudential. And
I know, likewise at SCB. So
well, did you know, it's great for those on the call. There is a fantastic partnership with Prudential and SCB, and the shared passion on sustainability is a key driver in that partnership. But I guess, Eileen, just to answer your question, not too dissimilar to the approach in Prudential, not much really has changed in way of Standard Chartered's approach to learning. Again, we have our brand promise, which is here for good. And back in 2018, when the bank revisited our bank strategy, sustainability became a core pillar of the bank strategy. Now, the transformation of learning and the approach within the bank has been to reset, to engage, to scale, and to maximize impact. And it covers a lot of what Neetha was just explaining now. We're looking at the core skills that are really being transformed, whether that's through sort of data and digital, whether it's through innovation, leadership, performance, sales. And again, a lot of that came out of JTM as well. Some of the core roles and the need to pivot, particularly from a sustainability angle, has really been central to our learning curriculum in the bank prior to sort of sustainability getting the momentum it has through financial services. Internally within the bank, we took the path of co-creating a set of modules. What we recognized from a lot of the external curriculum is that although very good and very scientific and very theoretical, and again, if you think about sustainability, it is very technical in some areas, but we needed to make that practical for a lot of our sales force, a lot of our product partners, and a lot of our risk management team, given that those were the core roles that really needed to pivot and augment, as Neetha was saying. So what we did is we co-created a curriculum. We put all of our frontline sales staff and our product partners through that. We also engaged with all our risk officers, and they went through that training, as well as all our board, subsidiary boards, and our senior management. Now, that was just the start of the journey because it continues. And as a lot of the curriculum continues to evolve externally, we're working on how we can bring that into the organization and make sure role specifics within the organization have the certifications and accreditations that they need. Now, I was reading through some of the Q&A, and this is a transition for organizations. It's a transition for individuals. I always call it a bit like a metamorphosis, and I know we're not all caterpillars going into butterflies, but it is a real transition. And I think personally about myself, I've been a banker for many years. I made that sort of metamorphosis, sort of transition about 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm still learning. And I think one of the things you have to be willing to accept is that you need a sense of humility going into sustainability. We're all learning. Unless you were a climate scientist over the last sort of 20, 30 years, everyone's at a really early stage of learning. So, and the sustainability arena is just so broad. So really, there are multiple areas and facets of sustainability that you could lean into, develop the skills, and then ultimately find that space in financial services. Looking at the JTM and how we applied that was really to map it against some of the key roles within our organization and target those for the training. What it also identified was us helping to look at the areas that needed to be further developed. So we've taken a hybrid approach. Some of it was to use Neetha's definition of augmentation, so existing roles and just upskilling individuals or reskilling individuals. But then we also brought in new skill sets, so transition finance, nature and biodiversity, individuals that weren't necessarily in financial services before, but bring that real sector and experience in other areas that we can then couple with the financial services or banking sector. So really hybrid approach, still transforming, but we've used the output of the JTM to really help guide what are the skills and roles that need that upskilling moving forward. What I will say, and again, just to respond to the comment about doesn't really matter. This is a huge opportunity of whether you're 21 or 51 to be able to lean into a new area, learn, upskill, reskill. And there is such a small pool of this talent and capabilities that it's infinite opportunities at this stage.
Thanks for that, Jacqueline. I think it really gives hope to our audience, which I believe is made of primarily people who are not in the space and wanting to get into the space. And if you can see some of the questions we can go through the Q&A, and in the at the same time the poll results have come in, and there are many questions there. So I'm going to systematically go through them one by one and take the audience through. How's that?
I'm happy to be led by you, Eileen.
Okay.
I know we've covered some of them, but we could go through the poll, and yes, happy to be led by yourself.
Right. Okay. Okay, I'm going to answer. Have either of you answered this question? Where is greenwashing in the SFJTM? Not sure. Okay.
I can have a stab at that. I guess again, if we could look at the roles that have been identified as key roles to be addressed as part of the JTM, risk management is one of them. I would say it's the most critical from a banking perspective, particularly because as we look at embedding sustainability into our capital allocation and credit decisions, it's really key that when we look at some of these new technologies, some of these new products, some of these new areas of risk like transition and physical risk, that our credit risk office understand it, and we're able to assess that risk to build it into our portfolio and our credit decisioning. So again, you learn a lot from a lot of the curriculum related to greenwashing risk, but I think that's the JTM pulls that out in relation to the training and upskilling of our risk management team. And I think Neetha may be able to add on the underwriting piece as well. I think equally is critical when it comes to the greenwashing risk.
Sure. I think Jacqueline explained how to kind of look at it, and it's the risk that you're assessing. But if I was to just add from a softer aspect, one is while it could be part of a job, with sustainability, it is so wide that every job needs to have an eye out on, is what we're doing just a greenwashing or a social washing kind of, or comes across as that? Because if you're inconsistent across what you're doing in the organization, on one side you're still contributing to carbon emissions and heavily, and then you're just actually saying, okay, I'm planting trees on the other side, or it's a bit of a mismatch. So back to sustainability and skills in the roles that we are in, we need to ensure we look at it holistically and connect the dots. That's a big ask of sustainability roles going forward. And whether it's greenwashing or any risk around coming across inconsistent, because all of this is impact, sustainability impact and impact investing in it, and so on. People look at larger impact and not just tick the box options. So whether as a formal role, as explained by Jacqueline, I think skills on it not, and the risk of it not coming across inconsistent and just a tick in the box, whether greenwashing or social washing or any others, is part and parcel of every role then.
Thanks for that. And then now we have our next question, which I think is interesting. What are the peripheral skills or experiences that pair well with the various sustainability roles?
Maybe I could go first since I give Jacqueline a break to talk. I know she surely has a lot to talk about, I'm sure. To be honest, we've been just exploring this and been open to opportunities and experiences because we are investing in building capabilities and enabling people to take this on. So there is no perfect match or this is the only way to pair experiences with sustainability roles. But I'd say very naturally, number one, this is a space that has to come from a space of purpose and passion. And if you look at it, it has to be purpose-led. Otherwise, it would just, as I said before, this come across a stick in the box exercise. And when you look at that, then the role that you're delivering or new initiatives that you come up with should be thought of in light of that purpose. How is it serving the purpose of the organization, purpose of the overall sustainability goals that you subscribe to, whether it's providing the inclusive offerings for products or contributing to lessening carbon emissions or any of your community engagement. But maybe in a very traditional way, if I was to look at it, one very natural one, I think governance and reporting very easily. There are roles on governance and reporting and risk, which can translate to, there's a G part of it, the governance part of it. On the environment aspect, there's procurement services, there's, of course, corporate services, workplace services that also look at how, green related, on impact on environment. A lot of those roles then now have to translate to the impact on environment from there. Investments in terms of transition financing, of course, Jacqueline spoke about how we enabling, or pulling back from our investments on carbon heavy partners and investors and so on. So there's roles there that, again, back to sustainability in your current function. I think people tend to not think enough about social sustainability, and I being passionate would also say we should also consider sustainability of workforce and human beings. And in that sense, it's actually sustainability of energy to be able to sustain performance. And that means well-being, right? So human energy and sustainability, which means contributing to roles that lead to well-being and sustainability of energy, productivity in that sense, is also roles that very naturally lead to that. That's one way of looking at it. If you're contributing on wellness and well-being. The other one is HR roles per se, community investment roles. I'm very happy to say that one of the things that we took on as social sustainability was to enable extended careers, and hence in HR, looking at it as what progressive practices could enable that. So a few years back, we took away retirement age. We don't have retirement age because if you're able and can perform and are mentally able to do that, age is just a number. So how can we extend careers when people can have extended, fulfilling lives? Looking at people practices from the aspect of sustainability then. So I think this is a space you can go on exploring. There is no boundaries and limits and set ways of doing it. We're all exploring it. So that's my long answer to it. But maybe Jacqueline has a more structured and very specific answer to it as well.
No. I appreciate there's loads of questions. That was a really comprehensive response back. I think that was a great response, Neetha.
All right, and we have the next one, which is, what are the questions from senior stakeholders for ESG professionals?
I'm trying to say, what would that mean in terms of what are the questions? I can't read it. So what are the questions from senior stakeholders, ESG professionals? Okay, I'm wondering, is it in the from a point of skills, or is it a point of what perspective? Jacqueline, do you have a...
Yeah, I think it's quite an open question, but I think I think internally within our organization, and the questions I get asked quite often by a lot of our senior stakeholders, is really, we're not moving fast enough sometimes. How can we move quicker? How can we ensure that we're upskilling the 96,000+ individuals so that everybody is sustainable finance fluent? Again, how are we providing the support and the financial products to our clients, and how are we helping them transition, and can we do it quicker? I always jokingly say to a lot of my peers that sometimes being in sustainability is not sustainable because it's moving at such a pace, but recognizing that we all, as global citizens, have such a key role to play in the transition to a net zero world, and also the impact that we have being in financial services is quite great. So it's a really big responsibility. But yes, I think internally, a lot of our senior stakeholders are wanting to move faster, they're wanting to simplify, they're wanting to we ensure that we're meeting not only our clients' needs and asks, but within the right control framework. So greenwashing risk was mentioned, that is real. It is also a ever fast moving landscape when it comes to sustainable finance regulations. There's no level of standardization, so really playing a role in that thought leadership in how we bring the world together is also quite key. But I think it's just faster, better, and in the right way. So being here for good.
Maybe I could add to that, since Jacqueline, you framed it that way, that helps as well in terms of framing it. When we are speaking to our sustainability team, I think hiring people, one of the key questions you may get around this, if you're trying to look for a sustainability role, is what do you think are the specific sustainability goals, and the whole UN Sustainability Development Goals we should focus on, and what would be most relevant, of course, for the organization, given the strategy, where we can actually contribute most impactfully, because you've got to identify, that's the strategy you need to define. So where is it that you can't do all 24 or all of the goals, what makes most sense, and how do we then articulate and link it to all the various businesses or activities that we're doing, so that it actually does contribute to the purpose. And that there's a lot of strategic thinking here. It's not a very tactical space, to be honest. And those are the questions to think about and connect the dots in the ESG professionals.
Thank you to both. I think that was a very useful answer, I hope, for the audience. And the next question is very specific. Someone says, thank you for your sharing, Nita and Jacqueline. Curious to hear your views on how jobs in sustainable finance will change in the next 5 years.
I'm happy to go first, Nita. I think from a banking perspective, I would hope in 5 years, this will be within the DNA of the organization. I would hope that sustainable finance becomes the norm, and that everybody from, if we talk in terms within the front line, so the sales, the second line, and where the risk functions and, excuse me, tech and operations, right through to the third line of our auditing and assurance teams and compliance, that everybody is sustainability fluent. And when they think around how they operate day to day, that sustainability is at the forefront of what they do and how they do it. I do think that there will be a fast acceleration to the upskilling and reskilling required from a sustainability perspective. If I look at a lot of the products within financial services, again, regardless of sort of markets going up and down, and we could probably speak for a long time on the relation to carbon markets, etc., and others, but there are so many new products coming out. I do think that the roles will evolve to be that sustainable finance is a key component of all of them.
Beautifully answered. I have nothing more to add.
Okay, and a question that's related to this is, what are 3 skills that are most lacking in the sustainability space at this stage?
Maybe I could go first here. I think, given we've just been speaking about this, it is such a new space. And I think it is one of those hot jobs where there's such a lack of skills. And so people need to be curious around how the curiosity as a skill or as a behavior is something I would say people need to be open to exploring and thinking about things with a learning mindset. How can we look at a particular topic or a particular aspect of the business through the lens of sustainability? So be curious about the nature of the business. What are we considering from it needs a lot of connected thinking. I was just saying that before, connecting the dots. That's a skill that is required it's a very strategic mindset skill required, connected thinking, curiosity, learning mindset, I would say. And I think at the core of it, while it's not a skill set, but it has to come from a purpose and values-led space. That's what I would say for a sustainability role. It has to come from purpose and values.
Lean, I would absolutely agree with what Nita has said. I think there is a transformation in the workplace at the moment, and you could sort of take sustainability and sort of park it for the time being, because I think it's part of that. But really, we're going through such a change in society about how we work, where we work, the tools that we're having to use in order to do our work, the technology advancement that we're going through. I think all the skills that Nita just outlined, along with resilience and the ability to be able to have that growth mindset to unlearn, to relearn, and then probably unlearn and relearn again in the next few years, is going to be critical. I think we really need to have a sort of open mindset, as Nita had said, but also really take the time to learn because there's such a vast array of potential areas you could go into, and that transferability of the skills that perhaps maybe you've developed over the last sort of 15, 20 years are not wasted. It's just then how you make that transition into a new area or just add on to additional skills, I think is really key. What I would say is there are new areas opening up. So when I think about not gaps, but potential opportunities for people to consider to move into, there are a lot of new technologies coming up when we talk about sustainability. As I mentioned, within the bank, we have onboarded a team of technical experts around hydrogen, carbon capture storage, biofuels, etc. And not necessarily a lot of financial services background, but they come from the real sector where they can engage with our clients, they can talk to them on the technologies, and really play that advisory role where we're helping our clients along that transition and their net zero journey. In addition to that, advisory capabilities from an ESG perspective. So we think about I was going to say the mountain of regulation and disclosures that a lot of our clients are required to do from a reporting perspective. How can we help and support them through that? And then, as Neetha was saying, a lot of our small, medium enterprises, a lot of our retail customers, etc., they're going through the same sort of transition. How do we help them on that journey? How do we help with their upskilling as well? So I think there's some roles, again, going back to the sort of reskilling and upskilling piece that can be transferred and you can develop with a bit of sustainability knowledge, or there's potentially completely new areas that are coming out. I mean, AI will play a huge role in sustainability. So not just thinking about specifically sustainable finance, but the real plethora of potential sustainability related learning that you can do, transferring your skills. I think there was a question as well that was related to cybersecurity on the chat. And again, sustainability plays a huge role when it comes to cybersecurity. If you think around the energy efficiency, if you think around e-waste management, there are so many other parts of that you can bring sustainability into those existing skills.
Thank you for that. And then there is another question that's really quite interesting as well. It's by David. For established organizations like SCB and Prudential, would you have or could you please share a specific example of partnering with tech startups in impact investing brackets, where the intention to generate positive, measurable social and environmental impact alongside a financial return?
Do you want to go? Should I go, Neetha?
Go ahead. It's a major part of the products and offerings that we support as well. So I'll let you go first.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So in terms of, the example that I can take, we, without naming names, but we've been supporting a lot of startups through the fintech ecosystem as well. And we have an innovation team that's been focused on partnering with them. And over the years, we enable them to contribute to some of these, social or problem statements to solve some of these challenges. I'll take a slightly different one, not just as a startup, but also because we are invested in reducing our carbon emissions as well. But we see that our investors or investments and our procurement partners may be actually still having some investments in this or practices related to that. And so we are also looking at how to support them to reduce that. And in that process, whether it's through the transition financing or in that process of supporting them on practices, of course, they lower their carbon emissions. They become more sustainable, which makes them compatible to other organizations who are looking out for green organizations to partner with. We are able to indirectly achieve our goals, and hence we enabling the sustainability of this organization. So if you look at it, it's an ecosystem of how we support each other to achieve these goals. These may be small, medium enterprises or startups that we've partnered with on various procurement aspects or investments. But that's one example, I would say, without taking a name, but it's something we consciously do.
And I would add, it's the same approach from a Standard Chartered perspective. We have a ventures arm, so SE Ventures, which provide a pipeline of new startups and new initiatives, both for the ability to drive efficiency within Standard Chartered, but also potential opportunities for us to co-create or co-invest with some of our clients or other partners. One thing I would say, so I'm responsible for building the ESG data architecture in the bank. And over the last sort of 3 years, we have had, I probably lost count, hundreds of potential startups. The ESG tech space is hot. And Standard Chartered Bank signed up with the Earthshot Prize last year. And some of the initiatives that came out of there makes you realize that from a sustainability perspective, we do not have a technology issue. There's some fantastic initiatives out there. We absolutely don't have a financial issue. If you look at the fixed income market across the world, I mean, it's huge. What we have is a scalability issue. And quite often when we look at some of these startups, working with our SE Ventures team or within Standard Chartered, we try and work on how we can build scale. And quite often, that's then connecting them to some of our clients and partners to be able to then build and have the impact that they need. But from an impact investing perspective, again, we do a lot on our wealth retail side of the business, and having the ability to be able to report and credibly disclose on the impact a lot of your financing had is core to us. Now, there are a lot of initiatives out there, and we're very focused on partnering with the right ones to have the right capabilities to meet that.
Thank you to both. And then I think we have time for just one more question. And here's the question. Since there is no standardization on reporting with multiple frameworks, standards, changing regulations, do you see any one framework probably taking the lead in the future?
I think this one's for Jacqueline.
Well, I was going to say, do you know, just a colleague said to me yesterday, Jacqueline, what's the one thing that keeps you up at night? And I said, reporting and disclosures. Standard Chartered Bank is in 52 different markets. And because of the lack of standardization in way of regulatory frameworks and taxonomies, it makes it really challenging to ensure that you have credibility and accuracy when you're reporting locally and at an aggregated group level. ISSB has really sort of taken the forefront of, and that's the International Sustainability Standards Board, has taken the forefront on trying to aggregate a lot of these. We're not really seeing that global sort of adoption and standardization yet, but I think they will be at the forefront of that. I would hope then once that adoption happens, the others will sort of fall into line with that. But at the moment, we're seeing a lot of markets and countries come up with their own taxonomies. Some of them are aligned and interoperable, some not so much. But really, there's only a handful, I think 3 from memory now, that have actually been legislated. So one, we encourage the mandating of these reporting disclosures because that then drives the change and that sort of journey towards a net zero transition, and it makes individual organizations accountable for that transition. But no, my crystal ball's not working today, but if I was a sort of betting lady, I would say probably ISSB has made the forefronts in some of that standardization.
And thank you for that, Jacqueline. So now, before we formally end this session, I'd like to invite each of you to share what is one piece of advice you would have for anyone who is either in the sector or wanting to come into the sector.
I think briefly we did articulate earlier on the response to another question to have a learning and open mindset, to be curious, to continue to see what you could learn. I would say leverage resources that are being provided in Singapore. We are privileged to be in Singapore where the government provides all these opportunities, whether these are traineeships from the TIFIP and WSP and CCPs to all the resources on JTMs. IBF has been a great partner on the financial industry side. I think just go ahead. It's all on the table. Leverage these resources as much as you can. Continue to learn. But of course, learning is not enough, and you've got to expose yourself to organizations so that it becomes practical. So beyond the education is the exposure. I think there was a question there about what can you do? It's not just, certification is not good enough. go try these traineeships that are on offer with IDF and WSG and so on. Apply for internship, do small gigs, because the more you expose yourself to how you can apply, and I think the key factor, which Jacqueline said, being humility through this process, that you may not know what you're initially doing, or you may go wrong and make a mistake and learn from it. It's very important. But exposing yourself to these experiences, which give you a whole range of understanding across different industries or different kind of businesses. And the last one I would say is not everything has to be in the corporate space. We are also hung up on applying for a corporate job or a government service job. If you have a little bit of courage and an entrepreneurial spirit, you could be contributing to sustainability and creating a job for yourself. You could be starting off by, starting a small startup of sorts, or contributing in some way to any of those ESG goals, which then create jobs for others. So as you contribute to maybe a green, sustainable kind of an outfit, set up something, you'll be creating other jobs for others. So it's not always about a permanent job and a corporate job. In this space, have a little bit of courage, creativity, entrepreneurial spirit is going to be important, so that we're not all, just focusing on the corporate jobs, but there are more who are doing this entrepreneurially.
I couldn't have said it better than Neetha. I would say be brave, be the change. There's no planet B. So this is the one and only time we get to save the planet we have.
Sure. Totally.
Wow. Thank you so much, ladies. Really appreciate it. I learned a lot from you both today. And so to the audience, we have come to the end of this session. Thank you for spending your time with us. And with this, I wish everyone all the best.